Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order then. It is 4:05 p.m. I'm just going to quickly take attendance. So Councillor Olmsted,
Present.
Dean Maxwell,
Present.
Jacob Grove,
Present.
and Mr. John Richardson.
Present.
And I'll make a note of the fact that Mr. Roy Desjardins hasn't joined us. He may join us later, but he hasn't joined us as of yet. So can everyone see on the screen the agenda?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yep.
So the first order of business is we need to appoint a chair and vice chair by resolution. Is there any nominations?
I don't mind being a chair.
Okay, would anyone like to be the vice chair?
I'll nominate Dean to be vice chair.
Okay,
What does that
We
mean?
just have to fill in the blanks.
it just means in the event that Heather is not able to chair the meeting, you would chair the meeting.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. Fine.
so Chris Wally is also joining us here just momentarily. He's not part of the committee, but I asked him to join this meeting just because there may be some issues in terms of roads that he may be able to help us with. Okay, so I need a mover and a seconder that Heather will be appointed as chair and Dean will be appointed as vice chair. Can I have a mover and a seconder?
Jacob will move it.
Mr. Richardson, are you okay with seconding it?
I am.
Okay. Okay, so I have a motion in front of us that Heather Olmsted be hereby appointed as chair and Dean Maxwell be hereby appointed as vice chair of the Ad Hoc Public Swimming Access to the Aimable de Fond River Committee to hold this appointment until the Ad Hoc Public Swimming Access to the Aimable de Fond River Committee is automatically dissolved at the completion of the plan for the public swimming access to the Aimable de Fond River. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Heather?
Jacob.
No, no discussion.
Dean? No?
No. Sorry.
Jacob?
No.
Mr. Richardson?
No, no discussion.
Okay, as per the rules of our electronic meetings, we're going to have a recorded vote then, so I will go through everything one more time. Oh. So, Councillor Olmsted, do you say yay or nay?
Yes.
Jacob?
Yes.
Dean?
For what? What are we saying yea or nay for? Sorry.
Or that you're the,
Oh, yeah.
Heather is
Okay.
chair and you're the vice chair?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes.
Okay. So that motion is carried. And Heather, now I'm going to pass it over to you as you're now the chair.
Okay. Is there any written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest? Dean, any conflict of
No.
interest?
No,
John?
I don't believe
Jacob?
so. I mean, you're aware that I own, or my company owns part of the land that's adjoining, but I disclose that. I don't believe it's a conflict of
Yeah.
interest with them.
I don't believe so either, but it's up to you to decide.
No, no
Jacob?
conflict.
Okay,
no.
all right. So there's no petitions and delegations and no reports. So we'll move on to other information available. Is that okay with everybody?
So, Councillor Olmsted, do you mind if I just explain what this is?
Sure.
So this, what I have up on the screen, and I also sent in the email that I sent to everyone in regards to this meeting, this is just for your reference in terms of what is expected of ad hoc committees. This comes from the procedural bylaw, our municipal procedural bylaw. So this is just for reference sake. Yeah, that's essentially what that's for.
All right. So I guess we open this to discussion. We need, yes, I like the project management plan. I don't know what everybody else thought about it, but I think we do need to have a plan in order. But in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we should have what are the problems that we're having with the swimming hole and what we can rectify. Do we even need to go further? But I'm just going by memory, and anybody can jump in if they need, but I know that parking, garbage, fires, the survey, and noise is an issue. Has anybody got anything else? Dean?
I'd for sure would like to discuss it, but I'm not sure which direction we're looking to go into. I don't know if anybody else has a feeling which direction we want us to go into. I was hoping to hear from John there a little bit on that. I know he's got Roseanne's concerns in mind, and I don't know, I kind of would like that to be resolved as well.
Yes.
Somehow.
John?
Okay, so I haven't, had any conversation with anybody about this since, I don't know, it would have been maybe the spring or we last talked, and not a great deal with Roseanne either, but basically the concern is the safety, the boundaries, and I think the other things, really fall in those categories. I haven't spent a lot of time there, although I was there last week. So I'm not sure what, if anything, has really changed since our last, conversation about this. It's primarily, it's about safety, more than anything. And that, by the way, is not restricted to, people who might use it, which is an obvious concern, but it's also, restricted, it's the fire issues and and all the other things. And the noise, it seems to me the noise and the parking are related issues as well. So I guess maybe, what does that mean? I suppose is, what people's expectations and understanding are, when they go there or around there, or, whatever.
Right. From what I remember, parking, yeah. So there was people having illegal fires and there's not adequate parking. There was garbage left over. People crossing over property lines right?
Yeah, and I think that, Roseanne may have, I have no idea if this is going to be on the scope of what, can even be addressed, but I think that Roseanne had, raised issues of, lack of restroom facilities and things like that. Um, I recall
Mhm.
hearing that. I mean, basically, it's, I think a process of trying to get, mutual understanding of what's what there, what the limits are in terms of what people can do, what their
Right.
responsibilities
Um,
are if they go down there.
yeah. Um, so I'm wondering if a amicable solution would be to not make this, I don't know about anybody else's input, but I don't want to uh, develop it. I just want to access it. So we have very little resources in our little township, and I know my family or lifetime, I've been swimming there since I was 2 years old. Um, and I appreciate the concerns of everyone, and I do want it safe for everyone. So my number one thing is parking and garbage, and definitely no fires. And I wonder if appropriate signage would help, and maybe installing a garbage can, and definitely putting up a list of rules. Um,
I think we
maybe,
gotta watch what we post, like rules and stuff. It's not
yes,
up to us. We have regulation bylaws for a reason.
right, right.
I just, not to interrupt you, but with the survey was just done there, was it not there, John? Just recently?
You know what? I think the answer to that is yes. But I am almost embarrassed to say that I am not privy to, what the result of that was. But, I'm happy to give her a call and get that information. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think the survey was done.
Yeah, because I seen the pickets and like the township did put up rocks there. I seen they were on township side. So I just didn't know if she was pleased with that or if she was happy in
You know
that
what?
end.
I'll
I
find
kind of
that
wanted
out.
to,
I'll
yeah,
find that out after the meeting and, send Cindy an email on, on what the status
because
of that is. I
yeah,
know
just
that was,
I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, John.
I know that was very much a live issue, the last time we met. But see, thing is, I don't spend a lot of time there. So most of, my understanding of this is, obviously shaped by what I hear from her and, and what she has done. And yes, I do believe there was a survey, and yes, I will, after the meeting I'll find out what the result of that was.
I think Heather had a good idea. I know one of her concern was to post like the no fire thing, and I
Mhm.
think that's something maybe we should follow up on. Um, my feedback from everybody in the area is kind of the same as what Heather just repeated. They really don't want to see it develop too much because they don't want everybody coming there from Mattawa. And I think that would be something that happened. Um, what we've done with the fire truck ramp, we have created better access to it. And I think it's going to resolve a lot of the parking issues and stuff like that. But we do need to post it, like, no unintended parking there, because if you do need to receive access into there, they need to move their vehicles ASAP.
Yeah,
So
or
I think,
overnight. I
yeah, definitely
think,
no overnight parking. Yeah.
yeah, I think there was an issue with that. In
There was
fact,
somebody parking overnight
recall her
or what?
talking about that.
Yeah, I know Buddy's truck broke down there and he came back the next day. That maybe, it wasn't, for us, if it was off the side, it's not a big deal, but stuff like something of that manner needs obviously to be posted. No unattended overnight parking. And then the thing about no fires, we had the bylaw, but I'd like to see a nice official sign marked there. So, 2 or 3 there, so it's clear, like, we don't want fires on the beach. And we address that issue, and then, and I think we should probably go from there, because the reality of it is, the municipality doesn't have money to develop that area. It's going to cost money to
Yeah,
develop.
and
And I
nobody's,
don't think the residents want that. They kind of like it the way it is,
yes.
I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but that's kind of been my feedback from the residents. They like going down there, and they're worried that if we develop it too much, then everybody from Adel would come up and then they won't be able to go down there and park, and it's going to create a whole nother issue, and we don't want that. You know, there's usually, you know, maybe 1 week out of the year where it's really, really busy and the heat spells, and I think that's something we need to cope with. But at the same time, you know, if there's something we can do to make it safer, I think we should do so. And if it's
Well,
a
I
matter
think
of signing
that's
it,
entirely, you know, I think that's really what's, you know, consistent with what everybody, you know, at least in the vicinity, or an interest in the vicinity thinks. I'll tell you what my impression of this is, and I use the word impression because I can't know for sure, right? You know, not spending enough time there. But the key, it seems to me, to satisfy all concerns is to instill in the, you know, the people you get on there, the users, whatever you want to call them, you know, like a sense of community and collective responsibility. You know, if that could be, you know, really instilled, you know, along with sort of a, you know, an attitude of pride, you know, in the community, like I really think that a lot of these problems would, you know, kind of go away on their own. You know, it would almost be you know, a community regulating pride, you know, would self-regulate, right? You know, if people had pride. And, you know, like I got to tell you, I think it's a fantastic part of the world. And there aren't too many places like that part of the world, you know, Calvin Township left, like there really aren't. And you have to live outside it, I think, to fully appreciate that. And, you know, like I am all for 100%, you know, committed to the idea that that should continue. You know, the community and the preservation of what it is, because that is so special. But for that to happen, you know, you can't have people, you know, taking the attitude they can get down there and leave cigarette butts and, you know, leave cars there and, you know, and make noise, you know, all the time. I mean, it's got to be seen as, you know, being part of that special community, which, you know, I think has got to be understood to carry a responsibility. You know, because that's how these things can work without a bunch of, you know, heavy-handed regulation, money, and, you know, all these things that, you know, nobody can afford. And even if you could, I don't see how you regulate this stuff. It's like I was just listening to, you know, our premier's new discussion on the COVID-19 thing. You know, I mean, you can't, there's only so far you can regulate, right? You know, I mean, people
Yes.
have to decide that this is what they want to do. So bottom line, you know, community understanding, pride, initiative, responsibility. You know, that's what I think this thing needs to include.
I love that direction. I really do. I think that probably we should attend it and nurse it a little bit better than we have been.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I think so, but I don't, you know, that's just my sense of it, right? But God, you know, you can go so far in improving a situation, but, you know, with just, you know, pride, responsibility, and a feeling that you're part of something bigger. And that is a very,
Yes.
you know, special area, right?
So, in your opinion, what else besides Dean's suggestions of signage, and I think that we solved the Roseanne side as far as the division of property. Would you see anything else other than, like you said, heavy-handed rules that we should add down there?
Well, I think that I'll talk to Roseanne. You know, I've not had this discussion with her for a long time, but, you know, I think that it would help for there to be, like, you know, even an initial newsletter or something, or even a meeting, or, you know, some event, okay, that would, you know, get people to think about this a
Yeah,
little bit,
I think you're
and,
right.
you know, understand this, you know, from the point of view. I mean, you people obviously are, you know, in a very real sense, you know, public services in the finest sense. You're donating your time to do this. I mean, that's got to be appreciated and understood. I think that, clearly, Roseanne primarily, and, my thing also to a lesser extent, but, deserve respect just from the point of view of the property rights. And I think that, it can actually be used as an opportunity. I mean, I appreciate that one of the advantages of living there is you can kind of do your own thing, but it's also an opportunity to get people to see that, they're part of a broader community and that, that carries certain, I mean, you cannot have people leaving cigarette butts, et cetera. It's far beyond, just it's a bad thing to do. It's a terrible fire hazard, among other things. And, nobody, not just Roseanne and I, but nobody wants to get into that kind of problem.
No. I agree full-heartedly. So education through communication is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to lose this asset, that's for sure. And I know none of my family or friends do as well. So I think
And neither Roseanne nor I want that either, by the way. Okay, I don't think she expresses it quite as well as I do. Okay, because she's the immediate, the person who has to deal with it, the cigarettes and that, which are a real problem. But she is very much committed in principle to the things that I'm saying today.
Okay. So do we need to have a work project plan, or can we just move forward with the information we have, or wait till John comes back with more input from?
What I think would be a helpful thing, right? I don't know why Roseanne is not here. Okay, I thought that she was, a part of this, and maybe she should be at the next meeting. But I think that, so that, there are interests from different sides, and I think that perhaps, some attention to specifically how everybody, all the different angles of interest are being addressed here, so that everybody's pulling together. Now, it doesn't mean everybody's going to be happy with every aspect of it, but, people can pull together. And that's what's got to happen. But for this to happen, it clearly has to extend beyond the people in this call. The people in the community who are going to use this have got to commit. I mean, really commit, to the principles that we're talking about, because they just cannot get down there, drive down there, make noise, leave cigarettes, use as a latrine, what have you. I mean, there have been many complaints, including the tenant in the house at 1725 about this, at the top of the hill there where Charles used to live.
Yes.
As well as Roseanne, there have been plenty of complaints, and these are definitely legitimate complaints. And there, the thing is, there's no reason why this, why it has to be going on in that way. There is just no reason for it.
So do you think if we were more attentive, I know sometimes I'll take that way down into town, and I do get a smile when I see the kids screaming and squealing and jumping in. I get great joy out of it. Do you think that that's more the exception than the rule?
You mean the sort of lack of respect?
Yeah.
I'm not the right person to ask, okay? Because I don't, I observe it, but I don't live it. I don't think it's more of the exception, okay? I think it's a general sort of, one of the problems with having all the land and open area that you have there is that you take it for granted. You think that's sort of what the world is like. I'm talking to you from downtown Toronto, okay? Where a good part of my day is fighting for parking spaces, noise, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I can see, the huge contrast, and there's massive regulation here. It's, it goes on and on and on and on. So when I go there, I feel almost as though, I've entered a different kind of world, where it's quiet, you can relax, where people don't bother you, where you don't bother other people, where, in general, there's more of a, respect, for everybody around you. And I think that that's got to be cared. I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, we wouldn't be having to have this discussion, but I accept the importance of this to the community. And, and therefore, I think that the people who are going to use it, right, have got to, respect it in this way as well. And no, I don't think they are. Part of it is just a lack of awareness. They're just used to so much space, that they don't have to worry about it, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know, maybe some of it is I'm not part of the community, obviously. I do recognize, though, that, there are people there who go back like a long time, right? Who, like, as I think you just said yourself, who, I think have legitimately, feel and legitimately have a right to, have access to the things that make it a special place. And I accept that.
Yeah.
All right. And I think that's part of what makes it a special place. But I do think that, the people who use it generally do not see it that way. And I think that a lot of the energy that we are expending here should be to get them to see it that way. I mean, it's part of appreciating and respecting, the special nature of what it is there. I mean,
I
everybody on
agree.
this call does.
And like, I have the best of both worlds because I grew up in the GTA, but I spent my
then you know what
summers
I'm
here.
talking about.
So I absolutely do, and that's why I appreciate this is the gold mine that I think that it is, and I want
It
to
is.
preserve.
It is a gold mine. There is no doubt about it. But it's also clear that, some critical mass of people there don't see it that way. Not because they're bad people, but because they can't see it that way because they haven't seen the alternatives.
The bumper to bumper,
You
yeah.
know, well, not only that, but what happens where everything is the result of regulation and heavy-handedness.
Yes.
And that just, it really just can't work. Okay. The ingredient here is, the users, feeling pride and respect for the community.
So I guess what we can say is in the interim, maybe perhaps we should talk to Jacob and find out if he has any suggestions. Jacob, do you have any suggestions what we could do?
So what I'm sort of gathering is some of the things, maybe some signage could help direct people in a way, or to suggest, using the area in the way we're hoping that they'll use it, by not leaving garbage behind, by providing garbage receptacles or a safe butt out container for people to use. If we can provide them with the stuff to put these things in or to deal with the concerns, hopefully it reduces the concern. And then by also using signage,
Clear
hopefully
parking rules,
educate people as
curfew.
well.
I think we can leave it all that with, like you said, some tools we need, a garbage can, a butt out, and clear signage.
Well, and a curfew, okay? Like when it gets dark, I don't know, at some point it gets dangerous.
You're right.
And particularly, if alcohol is in the mix, okay? So if you've got dark, okay, you've got alcohol, you've got cars going in and out, you've got a bad situation. The only thing you're betting on is time.
Right. So how do we alleviate that?
Sorry?
How do we alleviate that, though? Is there a way we can put a sign saying?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that I guess you start with
daytime use only. Do we put a sign daytime use only? I'm okay with that, daytime use only.
Possibly.
I don't know how we can enforce that, but I think it's appropriate to put that daytime use only, no overnight parking.
Well, I don't know, maybe start with that. I mean, like, it's just common sense that
yes, it is.
People relax, there's alcohol, there's cars, it's dark, there's going to be something bad that's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Chris, do you have anything to add to this?
Sorry, did you say Chris?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did. Sorry, Chris.
Okay.
Do you have anything to add to our conversation?
No, not really. It's just that most of the issues that the biggest concerns were addressed, and the trespass issue was addressed by verifying the pickets or the corner pins for the property, and the parking was addressed by making the parking lot for the fire truck. We did plan on, or Bell Canada was going to move the pole, the bell pole, over to one side to make better parking for the fire truck and so on, like more room, because it's kind of right in the center. You know, we could easily put portable restroom facilities down there that wouldn't take too much care or maintenance. And as far as the drinking and the shenanigans that might go on, you know, maybe we just had to have a little bit more police presence in the area. If it means making a phone call to them once in a while, then I think we should do that. We also got to consider the public surveys that went out originally about the swimming hole. We need to take those people's comments into consideration as far as moving forward with the swimming hole altogether, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
So what I can do, I'm going to talk to Roseanne, all right, and, you know, have a conversation with her about, you know, what she sees the issues as being and what, you know, would be reasonable ways to address those issues. Okay, you know, with whatever's left on that, all right? Shall I do that?
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to move forward, because we might have resolved a lot of the issues already.
That may be, but I have not had a, you know, sort of a dedicated discussion with her on this topic for some time.
Okay, pardon, who was that? Chris?
It's neither
Was
Heather,
it
Dean.
Chris or Jacob? Oh,
Dean?
oh, Dean. Sorry.
Sorry.
You
know what? I'd like to see us move ahead with the signing of it. Regardless or not, we need to sign it, I think, personally, especially the parking thing. We should redo that. And like you say, just a couple signs, please respect, no, don't leave any garbage. I think those are all signs we need to do, and the no fire signs as well. I think that's something we should probably like move forward with regardless of what's going on. Because it's going to get used regardless. And like you said, I think if we had those signs up, and then maybe we could put a little newsletter out in Calvin Flyers saying, you know, please respect landowners' wishes and treat it with respect and pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to write something up actually for a newsletter, just talking about this, you know, saying what a special place it is and why this, if you like, you know, or not. I mean, I'm just volunteering, you know, if you want.
No, I would appreciate that. That would be fantastic.
A letter like that works really well, I think. And because a lot of the issues that happened down there were caused from kids from Mattawa. And I know that because, again, people from the community stepped up, because I told them, you know, like, we can't have people making fires down there. And I talked to Roseanne about it. And then I asked around who was doing it, you know, try to find out whose kid. And everybody came back, you know what, it's not the kids from Calvin causing the problem. It was, you know, 8 kids from Mattawa were down there late one night. And, you know, so I think we can resolve lots of it within just a little bit of communications by putting a flyer out and saying, you know what, please don't park on the road, you know, please be respectful, don't leave any garbage behind, and, you know, just have a safe summer or whatever. But I think the communication is key here, and I think we should just reach out to the members of the community and just tell them how it is. We need to protect it, to keep it beautiful.
Yeah.
And, you know, and have some signs up there so it's clearly marked. So when we do need to call the OPP, it's marked, so there's no reason. And hopefully we don't have to go to that. Hopefully we can just call people, and you'll see the community will step up and take care of it. They've been doing it for 25 years now as it is. So I you know, I just a little bit of work that we did to do that ramp is so much appreciated, because most of the times it's mothers driving down there with a little Honda Civic and 4 kids, you know. So for them to be able to drive in and out with ease, that means a lot to them. So that's the direction I'd like to see it go in, and maybe we get some lots of issues resolved by doing that. That's
question. Okay, so you make a really good point that, part of the strategy here should be to get the people in Calvin to see it as their responsibility, the safety, right? Which I think is partly what you're saying. But a second question that I have is this: is it possible to simply restrict the use to people in Calvin?
No.
Are you sure of that?
No, or else, yeah, because we can't have stop snowmobilers coming apparently. It's, I mean, we
How
can't
would you know
police
who's
it.
who? Honestly, I used to know everybody in Calvin. I probably know about half people in Calvin now because there's such a high turnover right now. So to be able to do
Yeah, but
that,
you can still, people either live in the community or they don't, right? I mean, leaving aside whether they can be easily identified, are you sure that it's not possible to restrict the use to people in the community?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you that.
I don't know that either. I'm pretty sure not.
Well,
But
it might be
It's
worth
public
exploring.
land, so I don't think that'd be like stopping them from using the playground at the hall. I don't think we can.
Well, just a thought. I think it might be worth exploring. Because obviously, the way I see this is, which doesn't mean anything other than it's the way I see it, by the way. Okay, but I think that there's responsibility and an obligation to the community. Okay, I don't really think that extends to people in Mattawa or whatever.
I'm with Dean as far as I know most people here in the summertime we have an influx because we do have quite a number of seasonal landowners, and but I'd like to say that I would know 80% of the people, and I think that just doing these mild tweaks, like Chris said with the toilets and Dean said with the signage.
Well, let's start there and see how it goes.
Yeah, start there. Yeah. Because we've been floating on this for a couple of years and I'd like to move forward. And like Dean said, I think that if we will be self-enforcing, I think our community is really tightening up. I've noticed, I've only been up here full time for 4 years now. So I think that what I've realized is that just talking to my longtime friends, they went, "Oh, Heather, you know more people than I do, and I've been here 56 years." And I'm like, "Okay," but so to me that says we're coming together as a community, and I don't think we'll need to police it. I think it'll just happen by naturally. But yeah, just moving the improvements with the bathrooms. I don't know, that could be tweaked whether we need one or two, a male or female. I don't know. I don't think we have that high a usage. Maybe one would be appropriate, and the signage, and move from there.
Well, I don't think everything needs to be decided at once. I think that there are certain things that obviously everybody agrees on regardless, and those should be done, and then just sort of work on it. That's what I think is a reasonable way to view this. But again, I want to have a discussion with with Roseanne, see exactly where she is on these issues.
Okay.
Which I will do. And
Oh, Cindy would like to speak.
Yes, Cindy? I would just like to say part of this committee, the committee itself can't really actually make decisions in terms of what's going to be done. The information will be brought back to council, and council will make the decisions because, some of this stuff, signage, renting of a porta potty, those types of things, have to be approved. They have to be included in the budget for the municipality, those types of things. So can I say that we'll develop the plan that's in front of us on the screen here as far as what's been discussed tonight? Mr. Richardson can have a discussion with Ms. Van Schie. I will do my best to contact Mr. Desjardins to see if I can get any input from him as well, and then we can meet back again and go over what I've put into the project plan make sure everybody's sort of in agreement, and then we can bring that to council as a sort of interim, plan, like Mr. Richardson indicated. I think we'll have to do this probably in stages, see how things work, and, well, you know, that type of thing. How does that sound to the committee?
I would like to
It
see
sounds
Roseanne's,
fantastic to me.
I would like to see Roseanne's concerns in writing.
Well,
Just so we can acknowledge, like, I'd like to see which one so we can resolve them. I'd like to resolve them, make her as happy as possible, like, 'cause it'd be good for everybody. So if she has an issue with certain things, we'll do what we can do to resolve them, like.
you know, I can't speak for her. You know, I can commit to.
You can ask her, it's a request. I'm just saying,
What?
then request, like, it's more of a request if she would be willing to just write her concerns and send it in to us so we have it during the meeting, so we know. Then there's no hearsay, he said, she said stuff. That's all I'm trying to avoid.
Or if she can attend our next meeting.
That's possible.
I'm surprised she's not here, actually. But yeah, well, you know, the whole, it's all about the safety. It's all these issues that we're talking about. I mean, I've never heard anything beyond that. But you know, I think that everybody, you know, needs to recognize that she is the person most affected by this. You know, everybody else goes home at the end of the day. You know, she lives with it, right?
Yep. So that's why I'm surprised she's not here, but I do want to make everybody happy. So if Cindy can make the plan and we meet again, how soon would you like to meet again? I'd suggest that we wait to have a chance to present our changes. Like if Cindy breaks up the plan, presents it to us, we accept the plan, and then it goes to council, and given what council says, and so I think if we give it a month to come back with the project plan, is that enough, Cindy?
So that would be the beginning of February? Can we make it more
whatever
like
you think is
middle or end of February? Just because there's a
perfect. Yeah, no,
lot
that's
going on.
yeah. I get you. Whatever is good for you. So whatever you can make the plan. Do you want to, when you can fit it in your schedule, and then get back to us instead of making a plan right now? Just when you're ready, or do you want us to put a date now?
No, I think it would be better so that everybody on the committee knows, you know, and make their schedule accordingly. So how about we say the
Okay.
end of February?
What's the date, Cindy, for that? February.
So
Is that
does
good for you, Richard?
Tuesdays work for
Mr.
everyone?
Richardson, sorry. Pardon me?
Not
Does
really.
Tuesday work for everyone?
I didn't hear that again.
No.
February what?
Okay. Does Tuesday work for everyone? So how about Tuesday, February 23rd at 4 o'clock?
It's fine by me.
It's okay with me. Okay. Dean?
Dean?
Yeah, good, I guess.
Jacob?
Yeah, 4 o'clock's a bit early for me trying to get home from work to do them, but if that's what the consensus of the group is, I'll work with it.
We have a council meeting at 7 on Tuesday. That's probably why they did it early. But
Would you rather a different evening?
I
Wednesdays
would.
are better.
Wednesdays are good for me.
Unfortunately, I can't do Wednesdays.
Okay.
How about Monday?
Good with Monday. Mr. Richardson?
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, I'm totally flexible.
Monday the 22nd?
sounds good.
Perfect.
Monday. 22nd.
At what time?
Jacob,
6 o'clock would be
what time is
nice.
good? 6? I'm good with 6 o'clock. Everybody else?
Yeah,
Cool, so that's good, Jacob?
Yeah.
Good.
Feb 22nd at 6 p.m.
It is done. Perfect. Well, this was a lot of good discussion. Thank you.
We are finished?
Well, we have to move. So I need a mover to close the meeting and a seconder.
I'll move to close it.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay. Did you get those? Okay, good. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
So this ad hoc public access meeting will now be adjourned at 4:51 p.m. Thank you. Talk to you soon. And it's carried.
Bye.
Bye.
So do we need to change a lot of stuff?